All right, everybody, it's Quantum Mobile Mechanic here. Today we're going to talk about this Milwaukee M12 fuel stubby. I've had this one for a long time. This is the Gen 1, and it's absolutely fantastic. I really like these. I actually usually don't run them with the bigger batteries. I usually run them with one of these smaller batteries. This is 1.5. I have the 2.0s and the 2.5s and 3.0s, but this right here is a really, really nice form factor. I've been using this one since I think like 2020 or 2021 or something like that. It's absolutely fantastic. It was the workhorse. I've taken lug nuts off with it on smaller passenger vehicles, and it's absolutely great. It's really, really good when you have to do like an intake manifold, or you have to take a bunch of fasteners off, or even if you have to do an oil pan gasket or your subframe or anything where you're doing a lot of fasteners and you just want it to zip out really, really quickly. This is the tool for that. My opinion, this is probably one of the best Milwaukee tools you can get. Second, probably, or tied with the Insider ratchet here, or any of the Milwaukee ratchets. Anyhow, this is a really, really good tool. Super huge time saver. And this Gen 1, it lasted a very long time. You can see I've used it and beat it up quite a bit. I much prefer the button selector up here. Then we'll talk about the new one here in a second. But I like this better than the trigger selector, which we'll see. But yeah, like I said, I haven't had to do anything to this thing. It's the anvil's held up really well. I don't put a boot on it or anything, and the finish is actually held up pretty well. If I were to clean this off, it would shine up pretty nicely. The grip molding, it's kind of wore down a bit. I've used it a lot. I've had some brake cleaner and brake fluid and stuff on it, and like I said, man, it's held up really, really well. And I've never cleaned the inside of it like with air or anything like that, and I haven't had any issues. I keep it in the box, not in my main box. I keep it in my big toolbox just to kind of have as a backup. But I'll tell you what, this new Gen 2 stubby is well worth the money. I've been using this for probably about 6 months or so, maybe less. And it is absolutely fantastic. The power is just second none. This is the high outputs 2.5. But when I really need some power, I'll throw on one of these, the high output 5.0. And man, there's a noticeable difference in the power that this thing puts out. And yeah, this will easily take off lug nuts on just about anything, any kind of suspension work, subframes, transmission motor mounts. Anything this will do, but it's still delicate enough that I can do it on smaller fasteners, those 10 or 8s or 7 millimeter fasteners, even the Torx bits, on some of the VWs and Audis, stuff like that. This thing is it works great. It's fast. The speed difference isn't a huge difference between the Gen 1 and the Gen 2, but I'll tell you the power difference is huge. It's just huge. So yeah, so I really like the form factor with the smaller battery. In my opinion, it's just, that's the whole reason I get the M12 lineup. It's a lot more lighter. It's a little bit easier to maneuver and handle. The balance is a little bit better. The lighting on this new one's better too. I mean, it's got the tri-LEDs or whatever, it actually does make a difference. The lighting, you'd be surprised. I didn't think it would when I first got these tools. This little light doesn't do much, but these tri-LEDs actually do a fantastic job at illuminating what you're working on. The size difference is not that much different. I think they're pretty close to the same. I'm sure there's people out there with more information on the specs and stuff. Maybe a little bit shorter on the Gen 2. But other than that, they're pretty much the same. It's a little bit more blunt-nosed, here in the front, which is fine too. It's like one of those old stubby air impacts where it's kind of stubby, or it's kind of flat in the front. But I'd say what I don't like is the selector switch. I didn't think it'd be that big of a deal, but it kind of bothers me quite a bit. I wish instead of it being, put it neutral and you have to hit the button twice to go one mode over, so twice to each mode. I wish it was put it in the middle, and then however many times you push it, puts it in that mode. So let's say I'm on the fastener, let's say I'm on mode 3 and I want to go to mode 2. I'd rather just, and then that would put it in mode 2. I wish, instead of going to the next one, or hit it once and that goes to mode 1. But anyway, that's what they did. And it does kind of, accidentally get bumped all the time, especially if you're really trying to fight it into something and you go to pull the button and nothing happens, where you're like, shoot, well, now I have to take the tool out, look at it, put it on the mode that I want it to be in, which I usually rock mode 3, put it back on the selector switch, and then put it back in. It's a small thing. It really is, and it's not a huge deal, but it's a minor detail that I wish was just a little bit different. You know, I'm sure they had to fit a bigger motor and all that stuff in there to make it work, but yeah, other than that, this is just highly recommend. I usually run this thing only almost exclusively with impact rated stuff. So I use an impact rated socket and impact rated extension and impact rated sockets. But look at that. But you could run, chromes if you wanted to on here. You could pretty much do whatever you wanted. It's your tools. Use it how you want. But yeah, that's it. That's how I use it. And then I usually like this 6-inch extension. It really helps me get, especially like battery trays and stuff on Toyotas and Hondas and stuff. It's just a really good tool. Any one of them would be worth having. But this Gen 2, if you can, I don't know the price difference nowadays, but if you can get the Gen 2, pick that up because it's really great. And I get these in 3/4 rather than the 1/2 inch. I like the 3/4 because I use it the most. I mean, everything up here is 3/4. That's what I use 90% of the time. If I really need something that's 1/2 inch, I'll shoot on over to this. Right here. So yeah, I mean, this does pretty much everything I need it to that the Stubbies won't do. And I don't like the M18 Stubbies because I feel like this puts out the same or more power than the M18 and it's smaller. So it kind of just doesn't make sense to get the M18 Stubby that they sell. I don't know. Maybe if you only have M18 stuff, that's fine, I guess. But it just doesn't make sense to me. And the battery life. Let's talk about the battery life. The battery life is pretty good. I go weeks. I use these every single day, day in and day out. I'm fully booked all the time. I'm working 6 to 10 hours a day on a daily basis, and I use these all the time. And I probably charge these batteries once a week. All 3 of my batteries. This one, the Insider, and then my little 1/4 inch down here. I probably charge those once a week or so. I mean, I have extra batteries I keep up here, so if they die on the job, I can just grab a new one. But I mean, I really never have to change these batteries out. They just last so long. I would say that the Gen 1 lasted a little bit longer than the Gen 2 does. This thing is power hungry, but it's a easy trade-off. I'd rather have the more power for maybe like a fraction of the less battery life. But yeah, that's it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Yeah, that's it. All right, guys, thanks for watching.